Audio check 1 2 3 4. Audio check 1 2 3 4.
Audio. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mike Boucher. On behalf of everyone at MCFT, I would like to welcome the graduating class of 2021 to the 75th graduation ceremony of the Maritime College of Forest Technology. You may be seated. I would also like to welcome the faculty and the staff of the college, Mr. Stephen Hansen, the chairman of the Board of Governors for MCFT, and of course, all the family and friends of the graduates that are attending today remotely via the YouTube, the magic of the internet. It is kind of a neat world we live in, is it not? For those of you that are watching by YouTube, the technical people asked me to make a small announcement. If things don't work and we lose our feed or something goes wrong, we are recording all of the ceremony and it will be posted at a later date today for your viewing pleasure. The first speaker today is Mr. Tim Marshall, the Executive Director of MCFT. He's going to come up and share his thoughts with this graduating class.
Thank you, Mike. And again, welcome graduates, soon-to-be graduates. Welcome faculty and staff. And welcome to our viewers, family and friends who are watching today. So welcome to our graduating class of 2021, our Fredericton campus ceremony. And it's my pleasure to be able to speak to you today. And I couldn't help in preparing my remarks and reflecting on these past 2 years that you, our graduating class, has experienced. When you started with MCFT, that journey with us in September of 2019, none of us knew what was coming at us in early 2020. And what an interesting journey it has been, and I use the word interesting loosely. In March of last year, when we had to suspend face-to-face instruction for the remainder of the school year, we all found ourselves scrambling to figure out what we need to do next. And at that time, the end of the academic year was only a few weeks away, and we were able to switch to an online delivery format to salvage the rest of your school year. I don't think it was perfect. Some of you might say it was far from perfect, but in so doing, we were able to make sure that you could complete the program in the 2-year period in which you started, rather than turning it into a 3-year journey. So if you fast forward to September of 2020, and then with a number of different COVID-related adjustments, we were able to resume our face-to-face classes. And I want to thank you, all of you, for your patience and your willingness to adapt with us, as I know it wasn't what you signed up for. Our COVID safety protocols were perhaps at best an inconvenience for you, but they did keep us all safe and have enabled us to avoid further disruptions to the delivery of our programs, and certainly has enabled us to be here today. So again, thank you for your cooperation. I know it's been a frustrating time, and we've all come to love Mass. My wife tells me I have a head shaped of a bowling ball, and the mask creeps up my face, and the only thing that keeps it from going off the top of my head are the big bags under my eyes. So, but I'm getting used to it. So. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge our MCFT staff and faculty who have contributed in a variety of ways of making these past 2 years for our graduates possible, including today and today's ceremony. I want to thank you on behalf of the college and our graduates. And I acknowledge that this has been a challenging year for you with new and I'll call them additional responsibilities and expectations. And I just personally want to thank you for making it all happen. I know it hasn't been easy for you either, so thank you for what you do. With each graduating class, I like to identify some of those things that I consider to be perhaps unique or maybe firsts. And with your class, the class of 2021, I've identified the following. So you are the first class to have ever had to attend classes while being socially distanced. So sit in that seat but not that seat, just like what we are doing today here in this graduation ceremony. You are the first who we've required to wear masks both on and off campus. I'm sure you can't wait to get out the door and get them off. You're also the first to have an in-person graduation ceremony where your friends and family couldn't be here, physically here with you. But again, thanks to the technology, hopefully they're watching today. Yours is the first class where we've live streamed a graduation. In your second year, I'm not sure if you would completely understand or recognize this, but you are the first class that had to participate in a enhanced, renewed curriculum. You've had more of a course load in the second year than any previous second year class. I think it's probably close to 200 extra hours of content. And I know I've seen the stress and the anxiety in your eyes and your faces as you walk the hallway, so I know that hasn't been easy. This is also MCFT's 75th year, and so that's kind of unique for your class. And you are our largest graduating class, the class of 2021. So I don't know if any of those would be bragging points, but they may become topics for discussion at some point in the future. So students, and again, soon-to-be graduates, before you rush off into the next phase of your life, I want to encourage you, if you haven't already done so, to be mindful of those who have helped you be here for these past 2 years. That might be spouses, it could be parents, grandparents, friends who may have helped you financially or emotionally or in some other ways. And so if you haven't thanked them yet, I encourage you to please do so, because I know coming back to school or going to school as an adult, there's all kinds of other stuff that's happening in our lives, and we do not do it alone. The Maritime College of Forest Technology, and formerly the Maritime Forest Ranger School, has been operating since 1946. And although our name has changed, our purpose has not. We continue to focus our time and resources on producing work-ready graduates who find careers in a wide variety of organizations working within the natural resources sector. You will soon join the many Ranger School and MCFT graduates who have preceded you and in making a difference in this valuable and important work. 2 years ago, when you started with us, some of you may have had a reasonable understanding of what you were stepping into. Some of you may not. Others, I think, perhaps have learned a bit along the way. Regardless of what your starting point or where your starting point was, over the course of these past 2 years, you have faced many common challenges in your coursework, and you've logged many long days, and I suspect for a lot of you, maybe some late nights. And you've had lots of walks in the woods, and I don't think we lost anybody by our count. I think you're all still with us, so we didn't leave anybody behind in the woods. But I also know that in brief interactions with some of you in recent weeks, that it hasn't been completely easy. It has been stressful. The workload has been intense. The competing deadlines and deliverables have put stresses and challenges in front of you. So I hope and know that you've learned a lot from the variety of technical courses that you've taken with us over the last 2 years. And I don't need to list those, but I hope and expect that you have learned something about yourselves, maybe a lot about yourselves. Perhaps you've discovered your strengths or your weaknesses. Perhaps you've found your passion or maybe your dislikes. But never forget that there's value in all learning. And this is just the start. I hate to tell you, it's just the start for you. So you're going to quickly discover that learning is and should be lifelong. I'd like to briefly share a recent experience that our academic chair, Gareth Davies, and myself had in a meeting just a few days ago with representatives from the University of New Brunswick. We were meeting to discuss our articulation agreement, which we've had in place for many years, and as we continue to enhance and modify our curriculum, we want to make sure everything, is still in sync. And unsolicited, I was so impressed to hear them say how much they appreciate the graduates from this institution. They told us, again, unprompted, wasn't expected, but they told us that MCFT graduates are some of the best prepared, best with time management and able to balance priorities and those types of things. So I'm not here to push you towards UNB. Some of you may be planning to do so, but I do believe that over the time that you've spent with us, you've learned a lot about yourselves and have gained a variety of skills, not just those technical skills, but some of the others like time management and getting the job done ultimately. So graduates, I want you to know that by your presence here today, you have proven to us, and I hope to yourselves, that you can overcome seemingly impossible challenges. Not everyone who started with you are here today. So I hope that you are proud of yourselves. You know, this is a great accomplishment. We're proud of you and pleased that you're here today. And I want to leave you with a quote from Anthony Robbins, where he said, "The only impossible journey is the one you never begin." So there have been many times that your MCFT journey perhaps felt maybe impossible, but you have made it to the end. And so class of 2021, I hope that you have many more yet to come, exciting and challenging journeys in your future. So again, congratulations.
Thank you, Tim. The next order of business is very important, the presentation of diplomas. You're going to notice today that some students are receiving a green honors cord, and they have been inducted into the Council of Eastern Forest Technician Schools Honor Society for maintaining a 3.3 grade average in their forestry courses. I would like to welcome Jim Bowen, senior instructor at the MCFT and a graduate of UNB Forestry, to announce the names of this year's graduates.
Hey guys. Congratulations. Graduating with honors from Fredericton, New Brunswick, Lucas Dale Barton. Graduating with honors from Amherst, Nova Scotia, Joshua Carmen Black. From Upperton, New Brunswick, Kelly Sabrina Bowes. From Fredericton, New Brunswick, Martin Ray Campbell. From Listuguch, Quebec, Ryder Hayden Kaplan Barnaby. Graduating with honors from Quispamsis, New Brunswick, Colin Alexander Chapman. Graduating with honors from Douglas, New Brunswick, Adam James Connolly. From Weymouth, Nova Scotia, Jordan Robert Edward Cromwell. From Bathurst, New Brunswick, Mathieu Pierre Dag. From St. John, New Brunswick, Joshua Allen David Dillon. Graduating with honors from Renouse, New Brunswick, Riley Nicholas Donovan. From Bathurst, New Brunswick, Tyler Jordan Dugay. Graduating with honors from Shad Bay, Nova Scotia, Christopher John Durant. Graduating with honors from Quispamsis, New Brunswick, Jack Christopher Ferguson. From New Glasgow, Nova Scotia, Blake Robert Fraser. Graduating with honors from Sambro, Nova Scotia, Molly Joy Boylan Gilkey. From Tilly, New Brunswick, Matthew Dane Walter Godine. Graduating with honors from Lincoln, New Brunswick, Kendra Nicoletta Greeley. Graduating with honors from Montague PEI, Ethan Kendall Haight. Graduating with honors from Bathurst, New Brunswick, Corey Richard LeBreton. Graduating with honors from Middleton, Nova Scotia, Thomas Aidan McGinnis. Graduating with honors from Charlottetown, PEI, Christopher Ambrose McMillan, excuse me. From Plaster Rock, New Brunswick, Brandon Thomas Mahaney. Graduating with honors from Oak Point, New Brunswick, Robin Josephine Mallette. Graduating with honors from Renouse, New Brunswick, Matthew Gordon Allison McNeil. From Fredericton, New Brunswick, Alyssa Margaret Dorothy Murphy. Graduating with honors from Truro, Nova Scotia, Dayton Theodore Pearl. Graduating with honors from Antigonish, Nova Scotia, Matthew Joseph Pettipaw. Graduating with honors from Port Williams, Nova Scotia, Zachary Brian Rafuse.
I love you, Mom.
Graduating with honors from Sussex, New Brunswick, Thomas Charles Raymond Vale. Graduating with honors from Rishabukto Village, New Brunswick, Scott Real Richard. Graduating with honors from Hilden, Nova Scotia, Connor Elliott Richardson. Graduating with honors from Perth Andover, New Brunswick, Colby Michael Roger Rosignol. From Tilly, New Brunswick, Taylor Buster Rosignol. Graduating with honors from Fredericton, New Brunswick, Noah Albert Savoy. From Woodstock, New Brunswick, Levi Barry Shaw. From Fredericton, New Brunswick, Lachlan James Simpson. From Sydney, Nova Scotia, Tyler Joseph Simpson. From Bathurst, New Brunswick, Shane Donald Sprague. Graduating with honors from Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia, Cameron Lee Squires. From St. Stephen, New Brunswick, Cavan McAlpine Van Wagner. From Woodstock, New Brunswick, Lucas John Alexander Williams. Graduating with honors from Harvey, New Brunswick, Liam Scott Woodworth. The next names I'm going to read are graduating from both the Forest Technology program and our Advanced Diploma in Wildlife Technology. From Wasis, New Brunswick, Joshua Nicholas Barnes. Graduating with honors in both Forest Technology and Fish and Wildlife from Lakeele, Nova Scotia, Kerwin Rayshon Carter Curry. Graduating with honors in Forest Technology from Caledonia, Nova Scotia, Jesse St. Clair Conrad. Graduating with honors in both Forest Technology and Fish and Wildlife from Bedford, Nova Scotia, Livia Erin Fraser. Graduating with honors in both Fish and Wildlife Technology, and Forest Technology, sorry, Ava. From Portuguese Cove, Ava Jane Hart. Graduating with honors in both Forest Technology and Fish and Wildlife Technology from Miramichi, New Brunswick, Molly Ann McNeil. Graduating with honors in both forest technology and fish and wildlife technology from Hampton, New Brunswick, William Richard Wayne Patterson. Graduating with honors in both forest technology and fish and wildlife technology from Truro, Nova Scotia, Jonathan Paul Vanderquack. Ladies and gentlemen, the graduating class of 2021.
Congratulations again. I'm not sure how to follow that, but I have a job to do that I'm really looking forward to doing. Jim said I had to have a small kerfuffle with one. I expect I'll have a small kerfuffle or two in the next few minutes. However, today I have the honor to tell a few stories about a person that has been my coworker and friend for many years. And I apologize for that, but I can't help it. I did it at home with my wife, too. And she said, oh, it won't happen there. You'll be fine. And yes. As most of you know, Jim Bowen is retiring in June after 23 years as an instructor here at MFRS and MCFT. And for me, it's a farewell. And I'm not going to say goodbye because we're still going to go fishing and other stuff together. I asked Tim the other day how much time I had. And Tim looked at me and said, take all the time you need. Most dangerous words to a mayor Mashir, I would think. I would like to take a few minutes. I can't capture 23 years in however many minutes it takes me to get through this. But I would like to share a few tidbits I know about Jim, things I've learned. While doing a little research the last few days, I learned a few things about Jim that I actually didn't know, which is enlightening and fun. A little history is always a really good place to start. You may not know this, but Jim's parents are Newfoundlanders, and although Jim has never lived there, he has strong emotional ties to the rock. Of course, he has been screeched in, and if you don't know what that is, it's quite a process. It involves a minute bit of rum and a Newfoundlander speaking English in a way that most of us couldn't understand on a good day when you're sober. A few years ago, Jim's dad returned to Newfoundland to live, which gives Jim a great reason to visit. He plans family vacations visiting Dad. The stories seem to involve a town completely consisting of relatives, a beautiful ocean bay, copious amounts of moose meat, and I'm jealous, and all the things that Newfoundland is famous for. Jim comes back talking about eating strange food from the ocean, from the land, and for some reason there's always pictures of Pam holding up rather large codfish. I haven't seen a picture of Jim yet. It's always Pam. Jim's dad was in the Canadian Air Force and at one time worked with the Snowbirds, which is pretty neat. Very famous Canadian military aerobatics team. Like most military families, moving is part of that lifestyle. Jim happened to be born in Germany. He lived in Saskatchewan, which is where the Snowbird home base is. California. Yes, I said California. Picture him as a young lad on a beach in sunny California, with his hair streaming in the breeze. I have seen the pictures, and I remember when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's a nice picture of Lucas, his son. He goes, no, Michael, that's me. I was like, oh, okay, oh, wonderful. A really, really good memory, I'm sure. A little bit about his education. In the middle of his university career, Jim snuck off to the South Pacific, found himself fishing offshore of New Zealand somewhere on a boat. And I've heard lots of stories about pulling lines and tying knots and wonderful things. Eventually, of course, he did come back. He found his way to Halifax to attend Dalhousie University, where he met Pam. Pam was looking across the bar at Jim's fraternity house, Phi Kappa Pi. I hope I said that right. Oh, good. Needless to say, that may have been a life changer. Jim and Pam got married, and they moved back to Fredericton where he could finish up his degree in forestry. While attending UNB, Jim worked on the spruce budworm spray program for FPL. He was a navigator. His job was to guide World War II planes, turkeys, Avengers, TBMs, all over this province. Jim's attention to detail and ability to navigate, of course, was honed, and he has a most interesting perspective on the province as he saw much of it from the seat of an airplane. Jim's job was to guide the teams of spray planes in a grid in the battle against the spruce budworm. Famous words from a navigator were things like boom off, as stuff came up that they weren't supposed to spray, like the Miramichi River, not to be sprayed. And of course, booms on when they were where they needed to be to spray. Jim did graduate from the University of New Brunswick in 1990 with a Bachelor of Science in Forestry. His first job took him back to Nova Scotia, where he worked for Sisebou Forest Management Limited. His boss, Fred Smith, said he was the best forester he ever had to this day, and confirmed that statement last week. If you know anything about Jim, when he sets his mind to do something, he does it to the best of his ability. Jim has always said that any job worth doing is worth doing well. Jim's next adventure was to try his hand in the woodcutting business. JP Forestry Limited was formed. Jim purchased a Hahn harvester and a couple of skidders. He mentioned to me on another time that it was important to note that it was a 380B Timberjack and a 665 Clark skidder. He hired some experienced men and started to learn the woods cutting business from the front seat of a truck and the cab of one or maybe all three of his machines on any given day. Jim learned many valuable lessons and experiences that gave him an understanding of stuff like planned hours, productive machine hours, downtime, unplanned downtime. Students may be familiar with some of those terms. There's a little bit of math involved in that, I think. Of course, there's a good chance, and of course, the poor chance. And then there's that chance where you couldn't make money here no matter what you did chance. It's a very busy time in their lives with a number of children. I'll be more specific. With 3 boys under 4, mom working full-time, Jim and Pam decided it was time to turn the page on a new chapter that did not require Jim to work 24/7. So they pulled up stakes and moved to Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. Jim went to work for Brooklyn Energy as a procurement manager. Procurement, that is a way too many syllables for this old Miramichier. Procurement is short for buying and managing the flow and cost of raw material for the plant from across Nova Scotia, and maybe even beyond. I don't know if you know anything about trucks and truckers. I've had a little experience. They're an integral part of our business, but they can be an interesting and challenging group to work with. Truckers are not known to be the easiest group to keep happy. Truckers as a group love to have something to complain about, and one soon learns many people managing skills when you work with truckers. In 1998, Jim saw the opportunity to expand his education into a rapidly growing, relatively new sector in forestry. He went off to the Center of Geographical Sciences in Middleton, Nova Scotia. A course that he shared with me was much like the old ranger school in that you went to class all day, worked on homework to the wee hours of the morning, drove home, slept, got up, and did it again. Does that sound familiar to you folks? Yes, well, that's a good thing. He graduated in 1999 with an advanced diploma in business geographics. Shortly after that, I met Jim one day when he arrived here for a job interview at the Maritime Forest Ranger School. The next time I saw him, he was the new GIS instructor, plus all things relating to computers and technology. It was a time of new technologies, and Jim quickly developed courses in GIS, GPS, and basic computing that are a staple in the industry today. In a few short years after he got here, word started to come back from employers about the skills and proficiency of the graduates in these areas, something I think Jim should be proud about. Jim, when he first got here, took up residence in Turunsky Hall. How many people have lived in a residence? A lot of you have lived in a residence. Jim traveled every Sunday to work and Friday home to his family. He had an old Volvo, I think it was a 540, silver thing. He had a pile of homework with him every week. He had Jessie, the best dog that's ever been born. Jim and Pam had 3 boys, and of course these boys liked to play hockey. and they were in every level of hockey. There was spring hockey, summer hockey, winter hockey, the hockey in between those periods. There was just hockey everywhere. I know that when Jim went home, sometimes in the weekends, he said, well, I had this boy and that boy, and we were in this particular rink, and Pam had that boy in that particular rink 100 miles away. Grandparents were involved getting kids into hockey and back and forth. And I know he was proud of them because he talked about them every day, all the time, and I enjoyed it. There were weekends, of course, when Mom and Dad didn't get to spend a whole lot of time together when you consider what I just said. But that's the way hockey parents are. I don't know if any of you folks have played hockey, but moms and dads do a lot of sacrifices for their kids to play sports like hockey. He did start a Nova Scotia AAA hockey team with the Atlantic Hockey Group down in Nova Scotia. And it wasn't very long until here at the Ranger School, Jim helped the boys get the MCFT Swamp Donkey hockey team organized and into a local league here. Of course, traveling. That's a long travel down to Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. The Trans-Canada Highway did not exist back then the way it does today. It was a long travel. He traveled in good weather and bad, and on occasion got a reprieve. When Pam and the boys would make the 5-hour trek up for the weekend, they would all camp out in the residence. At one point, Jim actually drove to St. John, climbed on the ferry to Digby, slid across the bay. Pam picked him up, took him home for the weekend, probably took him to hockey, and then reversed that on Sunday afternoon. After 4 years and 3 months, according to Pam, and a winter that was the most worst traveling weather ever, Jim and his family decided to move to New Brunswick. And they've been in Fredericton ever since. He has moved a lot since he got here. Every time I turned around, Jim said, Michael, can you help me move? And I'm like, you hardly got moved in. But the houses got nicer and bigger, and that's just the way that goes. I didn't get to help him last time because I was too busy moving myself. Like most members of the faculty, Jim wore a lot of hats around here. Just a quick list from memory, and Jim is going to forgive me for the ones that I forgot. But he did basic computers, a GIS course, an advanced GIS course, a GPS course. He was involved in forest harvesting. Forest management was a big one. Public speaking, and of course a long list of being technical help in many, many other courses, including mine. Due to Jim's ability to organize and develop systems, he had another workload in the administration side of MCFT. He ended up managing the residences for years. Not to make it sound difficult, but you throw 80-plus young people from all over the Maritimes and a few from across Canada, and occasionally one from someplace else in the world into a residence, you might have the odd problem. You may not know this, but on occasion, students might even imbibe in a little bit of the drink. It happens. I know it's rare, but it happens. Of course, students are different. Every student is different. Some want to study in deep silence. Some want to listen to AC/DC. Some want to dance up and down the aisles of the residence. I could talk about hours about the residence, and I decided, and I wrote here in my little notes, but I'm not going to. I'm not done yet, but I'm not going to do that. Lucky for me, I got to help Jim a little bit. Well, I'm a Miramichier. What can I say? Tim told me I could take all the time I want, Jim. You'll notice that I haven't looked at Jim till now because I can't do that. I got to help him in the residence, and we tried everything. I remember we talked, well, we need better proctors. That would keep the peace. We need more proctors. That would keep the peace. Well, let's try a fine book. Every time someone does something wrong, we'll fine them, and they'll pay money because they'll pay the money and they'll stop. Didn't work. It's just the way it is. There was bills for broken walls, broken lights, broken ceiling tiles. People fell through the ceiling from the attic into the... It was just, it's amazing what students can do. You probably wouldn't believe this, but one student one night, I'm sure he was completely sober, thought it would be a great idea to demonstrate how to use a bear spray in the residence. Not the best of ideas. I don't know if you know much about bear spray, but I don't think it's exactly cologne. Anyway, I do want you to realize he did graduate. Like, we are not bad. We just, like, why would you do such a thing? But he graduated, and he's still working as a technician today. Every once in a while, of course, all the fire trucks in Fredericton South would land here. Sirens screaming and trucks. They loved it because they get to get out of the fire hall. Of course, Jim would get called. That's the way that goes. A fine would happen. Money would get paid. And to my knowledge, there's never actually been a fire. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think there's ever been an actual fire. Jim, of course, on Monday morning would get complaints from the janitors, and I can't say I blame them. The mess, the smells, the piles of pop bottles and all these sort of things that can smell. At one point, a room had to be converted to draft outside the building so that the aromatic hockey gear bags could dry out without killing everybody's ability to actually smell anything ever. And it's still there. I don't know if it works, but it's still there today. Well, that's enough about that. I will leave that alone. Like Forrest Gump said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Somewhere along the line, Jim volunteered to take over the grade spreadsheet and ended up managing the federal government's MCFT data entry. I've listened to him maybe complain about that. Details, 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 details. I was very careful never to show any interest, and I didn't want to help or in any way get involved with that task, because I watched him do it, and he is the man for the details. I did have the privilege of being an assistant in many of Jim's courses, and he had helped me a lot in my courses over the years. Jim has a lot of patience and has a few rather famous lines. One that comes to my mind, and I've heard it often, it's just a few simple mouse clicks. And of course it was, but you really had to know what mouse clicks and in what order things needed to be mouse clicked on, and of course whether it was the left mouse key or the right mouse key, or whether it was a single click or a double click. I still struggle with the double clicky thing. Another one of my favorites, PSA, he would holler, folks, pay attention. And of course, students don't pay attention. They're doing something and they want to go home. And Jim would say, I don't want to hear a single mouse click. Because you can hear those mouse clicks. They're just like little bells. It is a lot easier to tell everybody something once than it is to say the same thing 56 times over and over and over again. Every once in a while, of course, on a test, students ask questions. We've all had them as instructors. They ask us a question we just can't answer because it's a test, folks. You're supposed to know how to do that. And I like Jim's line, I'm going to have to leave that one with you. Doesn't always make a student happy, but it is true and it has to be said. And that's just the way it is. I can't find myself on the sheet. Jim has a very amazing vocabulary. It's one of the things I noticed when I met him. Growing up in the Miramichi, we don't like words with more than 2 syllables very often. Jim has an amazing vocabulary, and I used to stand at the back of the classroom, and every once in a while, he would use a word that I had no idea what it meant, and I kind of assumed that maybe a couple of the students didn't know it either, and I'd be back there going over my head, and he would bring that down and use some words that we all recognize rather quickly. Jim is an avid fly fisherman, and I might mention that he had an exceptional mentor when it came to fly fishing. If you know Jim at all, you realize that he loves the water, he loves boats, and he loves the ocean. Many students may have accidentally brought up the topic of boats during lectures, and Jim may have accidentally bit on that and perhaps told a story or two about a boat or two. Since I've known Jim, he's had a lot of boats. He's had little boats. He's had big boats. He's had even bigger boats. He's had boats that had 2 great big motors that sounded like something that should be at NASCAR. He had a big boat, the last one, that was massive, but slow. What I heard from Pam was that perhaps it was too slow, according to Jim. 6 knots is kind of slow, so that boat went away. And he has faster boats today. I think he has about 3. He also has a camp in Washtenamoik Lake, right by the water, a beautiful place. He has a house he just purchased up in Keswick, surrounded by white-tailed deer. I expect he'll be limbering out his bow, getting ready for hunting season. He's a very successful moose hunter. He's the only person I know that's sitting at 100% success rate. It's awesome. And I might add that his moose had 1 more point than my moose. It weighed 50 pounds more, and it was at least 10 times as far away. It's an awesome moose story, folks. I am almost done. I did try to capture Jim's time here. It's hard in a short few minutes. I do know this. Jim loves field work. He's a traditionalist. He believes in the value that are core to MCFT. Good enough are not the words that Jim uses. Good enough is not acceptable. He believes in safety, and he was very famous for ensuring that students had and used the appropriate PPE that our industry uses every day. And it's a good thing. We need to be conscious of safety at all times. Attention to details, checking your math, and yes, units. Units are important, very important. I think all of you know that now. If you're putting out a message on a map or in a chart, the units just might make the difference. Jim's courses had lots of field components because Jim is a field forester. Let's face it, forestry is a field business. Most of us did not go into this business so that we could sit in an office somewhere and look at a computer. Jim is a field forester. He's a registered professional forester and a valued member of the MCFT team. I'd like to, at this moment, welcome Stephen Hansen. Stephen is the chairman of the Board of Governors to make a special presentation today.
Good morning, everyone. Tim, when you offered up the opportunity to come and speak today, you failed to mention that I'd be following a Miramichier with an ability to speak. So, Michael, very nice. Well said. As mentioned earlier in Tim's introduction, this year has seen a number of firsts for MCFT. The Maritime College of Forest Technology values integrity. It values honesty, commitment, self-discipline, and accountability. These are all values that are exemplified in Jim Bowen. Jim, today, we'd like to honor your life's achievements by presenting you with an honorary Forest Technology Diploma, the first which has ever been awarded by MCFT in its 75-year history. Jim, congratulations. You will always be an important member of this community, and we are forever grateful for all that you have done and all that you have given over the last 23 years.
My everything. I'm not standing here today. I'm not standing here today without that young lady up there. I've always doubted myself. And she's always been there. And this, I think I told a couple of you earlier there when we met in the hallway that after my third year of university, I wanted to be a field technician. I wanted to be a forest technician. I came up here at the end of my third year and I met with John Taransky, the executive director of the day. And he asked me why I wanted to come to Ranger School. I said, well, I want to be in the woods. And the question he asked me was, how many years had I been at UNB? And I said, 3. I've completed 3 years now. And he said, go back down the hill and finish your degree. He would have accepted me, I believe. But I took his advice and I went back and I finished my degree. And Fred Smith, who Michael spoke of early in his talk, my first boss as a forester, he kind of had to force me to do forester work because I just wanted to do my colleague's job, who was the forest technician on staff. And I've always wanted to do that every day. I've always wanted to be in the woods doing your job, the job you guys will be doing, because that's where I was happiest. You folks and I had a conversation not too very long ago about when you found out when I told you I was retiring. And I asked you folks to try and find the same pleasure, the same excitement, the same enthusiasm for the woods in 30 years that I currently still have. And I'm hoping the folks that might be out there and on the end of this live stream that might see it going forward, that I'm talking to the graduates that I've helped to put out there into their career. I hope that they're lucky enough, and you folks are lucky enough, as I've said before, to be able to have this passion and this excitement, this enthusiasm for when you do go to the woods when you're 30. My retirement goal is to spend more time in the woods. Cameron Babineau sent me an email last night, a graduate from 2-3 years ago. And he congratulated me on my retirement, and I emailed back and I said, I'm planning on spending more time in the woods. And again, that's going to be very satisfying to me. Okay. I'd like to address one thing, and again, this goes to all the graduates that have heard those famous words about, I'm going to leave that with you. Those words were spoken with purpose. If I said those words to you, it's because I knew you could do the work. It wasn't because I was trying to be a dick. Because I wanted you to challenge yourself to find it within you to get that answer, because I knew you could do it. There were times when I threw you, another phrase that Mike didn't mention, but I'd throw you a ham bone. Sometimes there'd be a little fat hanging off it, and maybe it'd be a real meaty one. And that was because I felt at that point in time you could use that little bit of help to get you over that hump. It was with purpose. And I hope folks, you guys specifically in this room, will reflect on that when you leave here. And I hope the folks that I've helped a little bit along the way realize that today. Everybody here, everybody that's on this side of the room, faculty and staff, however much of a, well, I used that word a minute ago, I won't say it again. We all have the same goal, to get you to this room today and to get you to be productive and responsible members of our community, our professional community. Jenkins.
Thank you. I'm happy. And I like to be happy. I have a saying that says you wake up in the morning, every morning, you have a choice. You can decide it's going to be a miserable friggin' day, or you can say, nothing's gone wrong yet, I'm going to be happy and see what the day brings. The next section is our awards section. I'm going to be asking instructors to come down to make some presentations. The first presentations will be done by Rob Niche. He's an instructor at MCFT and a graduate of MFRS in the year 2000. Rob?
First of all, congratulations to the graduating class. Welcome to special guests. Welcome to our chairman. And congratulations, Jim. I won't say much about this, but I was one of Jim's one of the members of Jim's first graduating class. And I remember having the opportunity to get a ride back from New Ross, Nova Scotia one weekend. And a kind soul, Jim, offered to bring me back. He was traveling back from Bridgewater. He'll have to fill in on the details, but I do remember blazing by an RCMP car on the 103 with Jim. Can't remember if we got pulled over or not. I thought to myself, Jim, and said it out loud, Jim, I think this is a bad idea. So I'm here to present 2 awards. The first award is the Alumni Award. It was established in 1956, and this award is presented annually to the graduate with the highest academic average who hails from outside of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. It's a great pleasure to present this award to Ethan Haight. Next award is the Mercedes Textile Limited Award. It was established in 1996, and this award is presented annually to the graduate with the highest standing sorry, with the highest standing in the supervisory development and communications courses at MCFT. This year there are 2 winners of this award. I'm very pleased to present this to Cameron Squires and Molly Gilkey.
The next award is going to be presented by Gareth Davies, the Academic Chair and an MFRS graduate of 2000.
Hi. Congratulations, everyone, to all of you. It's an honor to be here with you. It was an honor to work with you, and I will miss you. Jim, congratulations, man. An honor to work with you, and I will miss you. And I'm very pleased to see the MFRS, Maritime Forest Rangers School logo on your diploma, as well as the MCFT one. Both deserved and earned. So I am going to present an award. For all of you that don't know me, I suppose I'm being streamed. My name is Gareth Davies. I'm the academic chair at the Fredericton campus and an instructor at MCFT. I'm a graduate of the Maritime Forest Ranger School Forest Technology Program in 2000, same year as Rob. Must have been a good year. The award I'm presenting is the R.H. Spurway Memorial Prize, which is established by former Maritime Forest Ranger School instructor Mr. Robert Spurway in 1977. This award is presented annually to the graduate with the highest standing in both of the silviculture courses, Silviculture 1 and Silviculture 2 at MCFT. This year's recipient of this award is Ethan Haight.
The next presenter is Michael Boucher. He's an instructor at the Maritime Forest. I graduated in 1990, and no, there's no more time for stories. My job at the moment is to to present the Marwood Limited Forest Measurements Award. It was established in 1980 by Marwood Limited, then known as the Atlantic Pressure Treating. This award is presented annually to the graduate with the highest standing in all the forest measurements courses at MCFT. This year's winner, I'm pleased, is Livia Fraser. I just realized I did them out of order, but that's not, we're good. Second award I'm supposed to present is called the GCLG Memorial Award. GCLG was affectionately known as Bumps. And I see there used to be a picture in the staff room of him sitting on the step, smoking and laughing. He was an instructor at MFRS from 1946 to 1975. The award was established in 1969. This award is presented annually to the graduate with the highest standing in mathematics and biostatistics. This year's winner is Riley Donovan. No sense having notes if you're not going to follow them, is it? The next presenter is Doug Hiltz. He's an MCFT instructor, and he graduated in 2007.
Well, I'd like to add my personal congratulations. It was a long and interesting journey, but you made it. And I'd also like to give my thanks to Jim. He was one of my instructors here as well, and one of the few people alive that, whether he remembers or not, has academic dirt on me. I was writing a test for him one time, and I kept insisting that west was east. Anyway, I will remember, and him and Phil were sitting there giggling at me the whole time because I didn't realize what I was doing. Anyway. So, my first award that I would like to present today is the R.F. Stochek Dendrology Award. Rudy Stochek Sr., or Dr. Rudolph Stochek, was an instructor at MFRS from 1968 to 2002, so a little bit before my time, not a whole lot. This is stout and a really interesting guy. I got to meet him a few times. And any of you that are from upriver, you might know the name Dr. Rudy Stochek Jr. That's his son. Anyway, this award was established in 2002 upon his retirement from MFRS and is presented annually to the graduate with the highest standing in dendrology. And this year, it is my very great pleasure to present it to Mr. Ethan Haight. All right. Next up is the Nature Conservancy of Canada Atlantic Region Award. This one was established in 2008 by the Nature Conservancy of Canada. It is presented to a deserving student, deserving graduate, in good academic standing in the ground vegetation identification course at MCFT. And this year, it is my pleasure to present it to Mr. John Vanderquack. All right, and last up, before you get too terribly sick of me, well, you guys are already. Anyway, the Urban Forestry Award, which was established in 2005 by the City of Fredericton. This award is presented annually to the graduate with the highest standing in the urban forestry course here at MCFT. And it is my pleasure to award this year's award to Mr. Ethan Haight. Don't worry, Ethan, we have a wheelbarrow waiting out back for you.
Next, I would like to invite Phil Hughes, the MCFT Fish and Wildlife instructor, one of them, and a graduate of MFRS in 1991.
It's hard to look cool going down these stairs. Congratulations, gang. Good accomplishment here today. For the Wildlife Award, it's for the Advanced Fish and Wildlife Field Technician Award, and it's made up of combined marks from Tech 1 and Tech 4, which are both field camps. It was close, but I'd like to congratulate Ava Hart on receiving this award. Anybody knows Ava? She visits me every day to ask questions. So,
Smile,
probably our
camera.
last visit.
I'll be back later.
Next, I would like to invite Riley Cote de Merchant down. He's an MCFT instructor, and he's the president of the New Brunswick Forest Technicians Association and an MCFT graduate from the year 2009.
Thank you, Mike. Congratulations, gang. You worked very hard. Most of you did a good job, so good job. Okay, if you're here, you did a good job. Okay. I also want to congratulate Jim on his retirement. I was a student of Jim's, but after I graduated MCFT, Jim also he pointed me in the direction of my job at Leading Edge Geomatics, where I worked for 9.5 years before coming here. So I owe Jim a little bit of gratitude for the career and field that he got me started into. So I appreciate that, Jim, because my abilities to use a computer before I got here were probably much worse than yours. I barely had an email. It was pretty bad. So I've come a long way, and Jim got me started down that road. So thank you, Jim. So I told my wife I wanted to make a joke as I was introducing this person. I told her the name, and I told her I wanted to tell a joke. And then she advised me that I shouldn't do that because I'm not very funny. So I'll leave it at that. This award, this is presented by the New Brunswick Forest Technicians Association. The association was established in 1996, as was the award. This award is presented annually to the New Brunswick graduate with the highest academic average. And one thing before I get there, I do want to say one more thing. For graduates from New Brunswick and graduates from Nova Scotia, wherever you end up, your first year membership and in one of those associations is complimentary. So you just got to fill out the form. I will send you a couple forms later on if I can get you to check your emails. And just fill them out, send them back, and like I said, the first year membership is complimentary. Anyway, so this year's award winner is Riley Donovan. So congratulations, Riley. So the next award is the Water Axe Award. I see Paul's up here. We should have had Paul giving this out, but I'll do it on his behalf. Established in 1987, this award is presented annually to the graduate with the highest standing in Forest Fire Management 1 and 2 courses. And I am very, very pleased to give this award to Chris Durant. Thank you.
The next awards are going to be presented by Julie Henderson. She's our MCFT Fish and Wildlife instructor.
Cool. So I would also like to just extend my congratulations to all of you. I'm just so proud of all of you, and excited to be here with you today. I don't know if you all remember way back, but to your first day here at MCFT, that was also my first day at MCFT. Yeah, it's been a journey, and I really think that I will remember this class in particular as my first class that I saw through the program, and I don't know, I've learned a lot in the last 2 years, and I know that you all have as well. So I'm presenting the Nova Scotia Forest Technician Association Award. This award was established in 1968 and is awarded annually to the Nova Scotia graduate with the highest academic average. And I'm thrilled to present this award to Libby Fraser. The next award that I'm presenting is the Proctor's Award, and this award was established in 1986 and is awarded to 2 students who, in the opinion of the Forest Technology Program student body, best reflects the cooperative spirit among students. This year we have had a 3-way tie to 3 equally deserving students. Very pleased to announce Kerwin Curry, Chris McMillan, and Molly McNeil.
The next presenter is Jim Bowen. Bowen.
Hi again. I think I got my composure back a little bit here. I would like to take just a second and clarify or verify, excuse me, a comment that Michael made. I didn't in fact, shoot my moose 10 times further than Michael. Michael's was a yard and mine was 10. So that's not bad, 2 moose inside of 11 yards. I'm here to do a couple of awards. The first is the ESRI GIS Award. Environmental Systems Research Incorporated, ESRI, as you folks are used to, provides us with the software solutions for developing your geographic information system knowledge. They grant this award annually to the graduate that has the highest combined standing in Geomatics 1 and Geomatics 2. And this year's winner is Cameron Squires. And I don't know if this was Sarah playing the long game on me, but I get to get the honor of awarding the H.W. Blenis Memorial Award for highest standing in field work. Hank Blenis was the director of MFRS, the Ranger School, from 1949 to 1984, and he valued field work above all else, as I understand it. The award was established in 1985 by the New Brunswick Forest Ranger Council, and like I stated, is presented annually to the graduate with the highest overall mark in field work. This year's recipient, I'm proud to announce, is Ethan Haight.
Thank you, Jim. The next award is a student award. It's going to be presented by Molly McNeil, graduate of the class of 2021 and the Student Council President. Molly.
Hi, Caven. Caven wanted a shout out. Each year, MCFT Attending Award is given to a faculty, sorry guys, Adrian, you didn't prepare me enough for this. Each year, the MCFT Attending Award is given to a faculty or staff member that goes above and beyond to support the student body. The winner is voted on by the graduating class, and this winner is a favorite, one of my personal favorites, who also looks out for our mental health too. This year, the class has selected Doug Hiltz.
Okay, I'm going to say a couple of things. It may not be in the program, but when have you ever been able to shut me up? Though you've rendered me speechless for a moment here. Without any false modesty, I've won a fair number of awards in my time, particularly when I was in your guys' position. I had a wheelbarrow waiting out back. But I've very rarely felt truly honored. First time was probably when I won the Proctor's Award my year, so congratulations to those, in particular to those of you that won it this year. So it was very nice to get this, particularly from you, Molly. And today is at least equal to that, if not greater. And I hope that some things that I have done, some things that I may have said, will actually help you in your life or your career, or at least maybe I'll be an amusing story you'll tell one day. So you two, you were also my first class that I saw all the way through the program, and you will always have a special place in my memory. So thank you very much.
Next on the docket is David Flynn, graduate of the class of 2018, to do the scholarship winners.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to congratulate everybody for making it here today. I was really hoping that my emotions had have calmed down after Jim's speech, and then Doug might have got them riled back up again, so here we go. I have a few awards to give out, so please hang with me here. I know everybody's probably getting a little hungry. The first award I'd like to present is the Atlantic Land Improvement Contractors Association Bursary, the ALICA Bursary. This award goes to a student who is a resident of the Atlantic provinces, in good academic standing, and has demonstrated responsibility and good work ethic. This year, I would like to congratulate Ava Hart as the recipient. The second award that I have for you today is the Port Hawkesbury Paper Award. This award goes to a student who's from Nova Scotia and in good academic standing. I would like to congratulate Livia Fraser. Next up is the Chick Chalk Bursary. Gives me great pleasure to present this award today. The Chick Chalk Bursary was established by an anonymous donor from Nova Scotia in 2006. The bursary is awarded to a student in their final year of studies that demonstrated perseverance, good work ethic, and determination to succeed at the college. I would like to congratulate Zachary Rayfuse. And one final one today, the Jem Steeves Memorial Bursary. The Jem Steeves Memorial Bursary was established in 2005 by the Forest Foundation of New Brunswick, James Robert Steeves being the founder of the foundation. His vision was to improve wildlife and wildlife habitat in New Brunswick and to encourage youth in all aspects of the outdoors. Jim called himself an Albert County boy, and his heart was at his camp outside of Elgin, New Brunswick. It was there that he practiced what he preached, planting and improving habitat for wildlife and studying the results of both ground and trail camera surveys. This bursary is awarded to an MCFT Advanced Forest and Fish and Wildlife Technology graduate. This year, I would like to congratulate Kerwin Curry as the recipient. And again, congratulations to all of the grads of 2021.
Next, I would like to invite Stephen Hansen, the chairman of the board of the Board of Governors for MCFT, to present the Governor General's Award.
So the Governor General's Award was established in 1873 and is presented on behalf of the Governor General of Canada to the graduating student with the highest academic grade point average. And it's my honor to present this to Ethan Haight.
Next, I'd like to invite Tim Marshall, the Executive Director of MCFT, to announce the CIF Gold Medal recipient and talk about the CIF rings.
Established in 1992, the CIF, or Canadian Institute of Forestry Gold Medal recipient, this award is awarded to a graduating student displaying outstanding academics, fieldwork, student affairs, and citizenship qualities throughout the program. It's my great pleasure to award this to Molly McNeil. I'd like to take a couple of moments to talk about the silver rings. And this is an initiative that comes from the Canadian Institute of Forestry. I will not give you the long version. I'll give you a shorter version about the significance of the ring. The Institute provides the silver ring as a welcome to the profession of forestry. It is a symbol of achievement in having completed a CIF-recognized forestry program. The silver ring is visible evidence of the national bond among Canadian forestry graduates, a bond that overrides differences in levels of responsibility, differences in employment status, differences in province of residence, and differences in language. The forestry silver rings are marked with a raised maple leaf, symbolic of our forest ecosystems and their inherent values. The silver ring that you have in your possession today, and graduates, I'd ask that you would now put those on, please, is normally worn on the little finger of the working hand with the tip of the leaf growing out from you, symbolic of your growing professional responsibility. So again, congratulations to all of you today, and please wear your silver rings proudly. Thank you.
Well, we are getting a little closer to the end. If you're hungry, that's okay. We will eat eventually. It gives me great pleasure to talk about the next speaker. He is no stranger to this class, 2021. He graduated a long time ago. Had to say that. From the Maritime Forest Ranger School. I think it was 1968-ish. He had a career in New Brunswick DNR where he became one of the leaders in forest fire fighting and science. After retiring from DNR, Paul joined the MCFT team as a firefighting and science instructor here. I know that Paul has had over 50 years of experience in fire, and that's amazing when you think of it. He decided to retire again last year, and he is the guest speaker for the class of 2021. Please give a warm welcome to Paul Gilmore.
For another time, Mike, if you don't mind.
I'll do my best.
First, I want to congratulate the class of 2021. I'm sure when you started here a few Septembers ago that there was just a faint beam of light in front of you, and hopefully it's much brighter now for you and will remain that way for you down the road. Some of you will go on to further education from here. Some of you will go on to careers immediately leaving here, I suppose. Either way, you should be proud of your accomplishments to date and where you are and where you're going. I guess there's a couple of things I should clear up. Everyone believes that your graduating class is the best class, and I don't blame you. You know, why the hell wouldn't you? But just so it's clear that 1968 was the class, folks. So just as long as you know that. Okay?
When Sarah first asked me to do this, my first thought was, holy shit, no. This is not the place for me. And pardon me, folks, anyone else here? I'm addressing the class here as if they were students in front of me and talking to them in the class. So everything I say may not be entirely proper. But I told Sarah that, no, I didn't believe that this was the place for me. Talking fire or preaching pumps and stuff like that, yeah. But here to address the students in this manner, not something I'm used to. I thought about it for a little bit, and I called her back and said that I would. And this is, I guess, my last chance to address this class. Excuse me. This is my, Jesus, excuse me. My last chance to address you, not only the class, but the last class that I've had anything to do with. So really, it's quite an honor. You can probably tell I'm nervous as hell down here. This is not something I'm used to, standing people in front of people talking either. I struggled somewhat with a theme of what I was going to do here and how I was going to approach it. And I don't have a particular theme. All I can do is offer you what 50 plus years since leaving here has offered me. So that's all I can, excuse me, that's all I can do here. First of all, I was always one to jump into things. When the job come up and we had to do it, and if I was part of it, I wanted to get into it, let's get at it and get doing this thing and see what we can do with it. But sometimes, I'll give you an expression that was told to me one time when we were on a job, and there was an older fellow, and we were going to beat hell, and I just couldn't do things fast enough. Anyway, he just told me one time, he said, son, he said, you'd be better off to slow down a little bit. You don't need, you're better off to scratch your ass than tear it all to hell. So that, I kind of pondered just exactly what the old bastard, excuse me, what he meant by that, but nonetheless, when I thought about it, it made a lot of sense. Sometimes it's worth your while to slow down a little bit. Don't jump on the horse and kick the hell out of it. Slow down, think about what you're doing, why are you doing it, what do you need to do to get to the end, how are you going to get there, not necessarily the easiest, but the most efficient. Okay, so that saying, when he first told it to me, I kind of looked at it as being a kick in the guts. But nonetheless, it was a pretty good saying. And very often I've taken that saying to heart, and I've sat down, looked at it, and talked to myself. I guess along with that, I would say that is also something that every once in a while you should do, especially when things are going along real good for you. Take a few minutes to sit down and think about it, okay? Where are you now? What are you doing? Are you happy with everything that's going on with you and how it's going? Or maybe there's something that you can improve on, or something you need to change or should change. It can be minor. And I've done a lot of that. I've had a lot of changes in my life that I thought about and done over the years. But sometimes it's worthwhile just to sit down, talk to yourself, assess where you are, where you want to be, and how you're going to get there. I guess, too, I'll have to say that I made my share of mistakes over my lifetime. That's the proof right there, one of them, That proves that I'm far from perfect. My wife will tell you that in a minute. But if you just take some time and, like I say, take a minute of self-assessment and look at it, see where you are. Something else I've learned over the years is a little thing I call it respect and consideration of others. When I was the provincial forest fire training coordinator, part of my job was to go out on fires, to be there, see what was going on, see what was right, what was wrong, where we had to put training efforts and things like that. So a lot of the time, I would be on the line with the crews. And one of the things that I quickly grasped was that most anyone in the crew, no matter what their job was, they would come up to me once in a while and they would offer me little tidbits of information. And in my job as the provincial training coordinator, I love taking that back and telling everyone else, look, here's something that you might want to try or whatever. So I quickly learned and realized that I had their respect. That was a big deal to me. So along with that, excuse me, also went, I learned never to look down my nose at people. No matter what their job was, no matter what job I had, I learned that that was not the place to be, that I didn't learn much by doing that. That I learned as much from the person down there that maybe had a grade 8 education or a grade school education as someone who had that university diploma. So the word professional to me, it is a term, it's not just come with a diploma. So some of you, when you leave here, with this diploma you leave here with, some will go on to a more formal education and you will leave a university with a diploma. But I'll just tell you this, that learn to treat others with respect, and you'll probably get it back many times over. Don't look down your nose at others. You'll be surprised what people have to offer you if you show them some respect and show them you care, what they do or what they don't do sometimes, how they look at things like that. So it's worth your while just to I guess, I'll say sit on the same stump as them, get them talking, see what they have to say. And you will find that it's, sometimes it's well worthwhile your time to listen to those who some people kind of look down the nose, and because they have less education or less formal education, they feel that they're below them. But that was not something that I was never comfortable with and never believed in. My father didn't. So I always tried to get from whoever I worked with, whoever it was, and I didn't agree with everyone I worked with. Geez, I've had my share of arguments with people. But I tried to get something from them, from a positive light, that I could take with me and move forward with it, or help them, whatever it was. So, again, just sometimes, sitting down with someone else, called a tailgate, or sitting on the stump, talking to them, see what they have to say to you. Take into consideration, take it in here and in here, what they're trying to tell you. Most people, if you show them respect and consideration, they will give it back to you 10 times over. So that's just something that when you leave here, take with you throughout the rest of your career. So I guess one of the challenges for me when I came here as the instructor in wildfire, every September we'd have 60 new students. To try to get to know those students a little bit and work with them was very, very difficult, because I only had you for 2 terms, 1 year. And then you moved on into the second year, and yes, we saw each other, but I didn't have you as students. So to say that I really got to know you like I would like to have known you, that wasn't about to be. But nonetheless, the challenge of teaching students, it was a different, and is a different challenge in somewhat than teaching, I'll put it this way, than teaching adults who are in the profession. So for me, many years I spent teaching fire and information on fire to people who already had the basics in it. When I came here and I realized that many of these students, many of you, don't have the background in fire, so I had to back up and I had to start right from square one, I'll say, and bring it forward. And I had to kind of, every once in a while, sit down and look at it from your point of view. What the hell is that old bastard talking about? So how well I did it or not, I guess that remains to be seen. But nonetheless, that was one of the challenges that I felt I had when I came here. I also want you to know that frustration from probably the instructor side some days was every bit as bad as what your frustration is with the instructors. So I'll just tell you a little story when I was here from one of the instructors, Bumps LG, that Mike had mentioned, one of the awards. We had at that time a course called a perspective drawing course. I have no idea in hell what that course ever meant to me or what it would mean to anyone in forestry. Not one damn clue, then or now. But it was one of the courses, so I had to pass it like everyone else. Anyway, one of the drawings that really he was putting high marks on, I worked my ass off on it. I was pretty goddamn proud, I'll tell you. I thought I did an excellent job at this. So I passed it in, and he gave it back to me, and I get this great big huge red F on it. So, you know, being a bit of an Irishman, I had and a Scot, I was a bit pissed off, and I went to see him about it, and I asked him why I had an F, and he just simply looked at me and said, well, because you failed. And I said, but sir, why did I fail? So he looked at me and just a kind of a shit-eating grin, and he said, there's dog tracks on it. And I said, sir, that's not my dog tracks, it's your dog. He said, don't matter, dog tracks are dog tracks, an F is an F. So that was it. So you think that some of these people were hard-assed, you know? That's nothing, folks, to what some of them were. So just so you know, I had another instructor that was, I don't know if I made the mistake or not, but some of the courses that he was teaching happened to be courses that I grasped very easily and was doing very well at. In some cases, maybe worked with that in those fields a little bit before I came here. So anyway, he quickly grasped that Gilmore was having an easy time with these courses and whatnot. So one day he told me, he said, Gilmore, he said, I have no idea right now, or no, first he said, there's a difference between an error and a mistake. And he said, an error can be corrected and a mistake can't. And he said, Gilmore, I'm looking at you and saying, I still don't know if you're a mistake or an error. So, but that, I guess what I took out of that was he was just trying to tell me I still had a shitload to learn and I better keep my head in the game. So that was okay. And when I graduated, the day I graduated, he shook my hand after graduation was done, and he still told me the same thing. He said, Gilmore, I haven't decided yet whether you're a mistake or an error. So I'm not sure whether he ever made that decision or not, but that's how he left it. Another thing I'll leave you with is never say never, folks. And I'll go back to a young lady that graduated here before you folks, obviously. But very shortly after she started here, that September, she came to me and after a fire class, and she said, I just want you to know that fire is not going to be part of my life. There's no way. She said, I understand there's a course here and I have to take it and hopefully pass it, and I will pass it. But I want you to know it is never going to be part of my life. So I thought then, I didn't say anything to her. I said, very best. Just as long as you know you got to pass it. And, but my thought was, young lady, never say never. You know, you don't know what's coming ahead of you. And in February, when jobs started coming out, she had applied for a fire job. She got a fire job on a heli-tac team that summer. She has worked in fire ever since. She is still in fire. She has now got a permanent job with the BC Forest Service in wildfire management. So again, folks, I'll just tell you, where you think you are now, where you see your life going, never say never. You have no idea where it's going to take you. If I ever thought, like when I come out of here in 1968, there wasn't one damn minute I ever thought I would be back here as an instructor. Not one. So until the school came to me and asked me if I'd consider taking the fire management course here, you know, being an instructor here was the last damn thing in my mind. So again, never say never. I've also learned over the years to take ownership of your actions, okay? Whatever your job is, whether it's good or bad, folks, it does not matter. Take ownership of what your actions are. Sometimes it's easy, and then sometimes it's difficult as hell, but you will have a lot more respect and a lot more people thinking a hell of a lot more of you if you're willing to take ownership of all your actions. You know, when you were in the class, I told you about my accident. I had my leg all blown to hell. And that was an accident that when I stopped and thought about it, there was no way I could blame anyone else. There was just no one to blame or nothing else to blame except Paul Gilmore. I was the one to blame. I made the mistakes. I made the errors. So I had to take that and accept that. and go with it. And since then, I've talked to a lot of people about that accident in the effort to try to get other people to understand what high-pressure hose lines mean and the danger they mean. But nonetheless, that was just one of the typical examples that I felt I needed to take ownership of. Along with that is being a leader, and it is a hell of a lot easier, I'll put it this way, to be a follower than a leader. But in the end, to be a leader, it is far more rewarding, far more rewarding. To be a follower, you're told what to do, you go do it no matter how good a job you do, and you feel good about it, that's fine. To be a leader is a pain in the ass some days. There's no two ways about it. It's a pain in the ass. And, but when you look at the end product, and you can look back and say, here's what we have accomplished, not what you have accomplished so much, but here's what we have accomplished, then at that time, then you'll see where the rewards come to you from being a leader. And all the heartaches that went with that to get you to that point, whether it is heartaches of the human beings and what you got to deal with, or the physical problems of the work you're doing, it doesn't matter. If you're a leader, you will have far more enjoyment out of your careers, I'll tell you that. I'll guarantee you that. So, and not everyone's cut out to be a leader, but nonetheless. I've often heard the arguments also that those who teach cannot do, they teach because they can't do. And I guess my belief is that's bullshit. You know, I came, and I've done both sides of the coin. A big part of my career was not necessarily in the doing, but in the teaching. Adults in the field of fire management. I've done that all across Canada, and I've done it down into the U.S. So I'm very, very honored to be a farm boy from New Brunswick, to be able to get that far and be able to have those opportunities. But to be a teacher, to my mind, is one of the few things that many people will never experience. Again, in my chance to teach you as well as other classes, I had the chance to take not only my experiences, but the experiences of many people that I associated with from all across this continent, and offer what I could to you. Naturally, in the field of fire, that's my responsibility, but to offer you what I could, to put you in a position where you could leave here, not only in the field of fire, but I was hoping that you could leave here with a little more than what you come in with an idea of how you are going to fit in, where your career may go, what you may want to do, things like that. But if you are ever offered the chance at teaching, it may be just short-lived. It could be some afternoon, just teaching something. But I'll guarantee you this, that if you take it and do it seriously, and you come out of the other side of it, and someone tells you did a good job, even a pretty good job, you'll get some satisfaction out of that. And it, to my mind, it goes far beyond just doing. So just doing, yes, I enjoyed that. There's no doubt about it. There's nothing I love more than listening to that goddamn pump behind me, hammer and beat and thrash, and get out there with a hose line and people working with it. But the fact that I could teach people about that and what they needed to know about it, that meant far more to me in the end than just doing. Again, don't back away if that opportunity knocks. I will leave you with this. I congratulate you again. You have no idea where your careers are going to go yet. You're young people. You have a whole lifetime ahead of you of a career. I've got over 50 years, 53 plus years right now in the field of fire. And, oh yeah, sure, I've had my days of heartaches, my days where I'd like to kick myself or someone else in the ass and be able to say to hell with the whole thing. But my career that I've had, including the whole thing, even from before I graduated from here, because I started in fire, my summer job that year, from then until now, and it's still ongoing. I'm still doing work in fire. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I hope to enjoy it for a number of years yet. But whatever career you take, I hope you're lucky enough to enjoy it, to get a lot out of it, and if you have a chance to help others, you know, and I guess I'll just leave you with that. And like I say, the other thing, is just, you know, scratch your ass, don't tear it all to hell, folks. Thank you very much.
One little piece of paper left. In case I haven't said it, I want to congratulate this graduating class. You have been awesome. We have persevered through pandemics and all the things that went with that, and we have been successful. I don't know if you can tell or not, but we might be proud of you. We are incredibly proud of you. As a forest technician and a graduate of this college, I am proud to welcome every one of you as a graduate. My last job today is to introduce the valedictorian, and I am pleased to welcome to the podium Chris McMillan.
Good afternoon, faculty members, fellow graduates, family and friends joining us online. I would first like to thank my classmates for selecting me to speak on their behalf here today. It is a great honor, and I will do my best to honor them with my remarks. I have a passage to share with you written by Dermot Kingston, valedictorian in 1961 for the Maritime Forest Ranger School graduating class. He said, "No doubt I am expected to draw a rosy outline of our time here together. However, this is not the case. We did not have an easy or leisurely time. Nor was it the purpose of our coming. We came here to gain a better knowledge of the field of forestry. Today we possess that knowledge and also a better understanding of ourselves and of one another." I came across that while reading through past valedictorian addresses, and I believe it still rings very true today. It was not an easy time, and no rosy outline should be drawn. Each and every member of this graduating class over the past 2 years has completed a tremendous amount of work. Mental, physical, emotional, and psychological work. There were times many of us wanted to quit. We did not. There were times many of us felt we could not carry on, but we did. And for all this hard work, we have been rewarded, not only with our new credentials, but with knowledge, with experience, and in most cases, a little more work ethic than when we arrived. I believe that all of our experiences here at MCFT will help shape our futures and shape them for the better. The future. I suppose I must talk about the future. And when I look around the room, I see bright futures. Uncertain, sure, but also full of possibility and full of potential. Futures that I'm sure will look very different for each of us. To hazard a couple guesses, Commander Pearl, sorry pal, 25, 30 years, he'll be the first one to retire. I don't know where Williams or Hart or Connolly will be years from now, but I am confident they will find a way to give someone a hard time about something. I can't imagine Vander Quack anywhere but the cab of a big machine. A cab that will be sure to be heated in the wintertime and air-conditioned in the summertime. Simpson T may be back in beautiful, scenic Cape Breton. Patterson might be a continent away on the majestic sunny coast of California. Donovan, Miramichi. Daggle, Dillon, and Campbell. I think it's safe to say they will be making their co-workers' lives very interesting, just as they have ours. Yes, some of us will go on to do grand things, landscape-level things. Some of us will go on to manage a little more hectare by hectare. Some I know have already set on a path to focus on careers in wildlife and other natural resources. Very worthy endeavors, all of them. Whatever we do in the future, I do know one thing. The forests, wildlife, entire ecosystems here in New Brunswick, in Canada, and around the world will be a little healthier and a little happier because of what we have learned here at MCFT. Of course, for all our virtues, we are not in this journey alone. Time for some thank yous. Thank you to the people, organizations we share this campus with, our partners, DNRAD, CFS, UNB, and several others. Thank you to our administration and support staff, Tim Marshall, Sarah Weatherby, Dave Flynn, Loretta, Lori, Adam, and so many others who helped to make MCFT a home. Thank you all for taking care of so much. Thank you for working extremely hard. Thank you for keeping in mind the best interest of all of us here at the college. There were so many balls in the air that needed to be kept up, and thank you for keeping the MCFT show rolling. To our faculty, Gareth Davies, our academic director. Thank you, Gareth, for asking us questions when we were looking for answers. Over the past 2 years, you always found a way to spark curiosity and encouraged us to be amazed by the natural world. As Ray Hughes would say, you rock, man. Julie Henderson, thank you for your patience, even when we didn't really deserve it, especially when we didn't deserve it but needed it desperately. Rob Niche, thank you for finding that sweet spot between condescension and motivation. That's something that takes a great deal of care and a great deal of skill. Doug Hiltz, thank you for the heart. We always knew how much Doug cared, even when we were just doing our best to get him wound up. Riley Cote de Merchant, thank you for keeping things light. You managed to spread a lot of positivity on days we really needed it. Adrian Pearson, thank you for expecting so much from us, for insisting on it, and occasionally sharing your heartbreak when we fell short. Phil Hughes, thank you for taking care of the wildlife students. They always seemed very busy. And it sounded like they were busy learning. Jim Bowen, it's been said before, thank you very much. Thank you for recognizing the difference between a student in need of aid and one in need of your trademark. I'll leave that with you. Paul Gilmore, thank you for teaching us that the only way to eat an entire elephant is one bite at a time. A surprisingly valuable lesson. Mike Boucher, thank you for 0.00007854. That's all I wrote down for you, Mike. I used up all the good stuff earlier. I told Mike I wanted to make a couple of jokes at his expense today, and true to form, he looked me in the eyes and said, "McMillan, I have broad shoulders. I think I can take it." Even then, I wasn't really sure if I should be making a joke about his age or his hair. I really wanted to pick on his hair, but I couldn't get the punchline figured out. Something about how his special formula of chainsaw oil and maple syrup gives him the right combination of shine and hold. Having exhausted that avenue, I decided on a joke about his seniority. The Maritime Forest Ranger School opened in September of 1946. That was back before the internet. It was before color television. It was before contact lenses. Way back in 1946, Mike Boucher was just learning how to shave. Thank you again to all of our faculty, from myself and from the entire class gathered here today. Thank you for all you have done, and thank you for all you have taught us. Through the hard times, stressful moments, long days, what I remember most is that we still had a lot of laughs. I would sincerely like to thank all of you for each and every time we remembered to smile. Last but not least, something I hope my fellow graduates will carry with them in the days and weeks and years that come. Last but not least, I want to thank us. I want to thank us for believing in us. I want to thank us for doing all this hard work. I want to thank us for the late nights and the early mornings. I want to thank us for trying to do more right than wrong. I want to thank us for trying to give as much as we receive. And lastly, I want to thank us for coming to MCFT and graduating with the class of 2021. Congratulations, folks.
That, folks, was the final word. We are finished. Thank you.